Hi everybody, welcome back to Winter Quarter. I hope everyone enjoyed their break. I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. on Wednesday, January 6, 2016. Before we get started, I would like to introduce the newly appointed by Judicial Council for the first time and only time for the new position of the Director of Transfer Non-Judicial Students, Myra Khan. Thank you. Myra, you can take 30 to 45 seconds if you want to say anything at this point.
Hi everybody, so as Taylor said, my name is Myra Khan. I'm a fourth-year sociology major. I transferred last year, fall of 2014 from Chafee Community College, and I'm so excited and grateful to be the first transfer non-traditional student director, and I look forward to getting to know you all and working with you all as well.
Let's go through roll call. President Ashley Orano.
Present.
Acting Executive Vice President Taylor Morris is present. Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs. Here. Vice President of External Affairs is late, hopefully. Vice President of Finance. Here. Marketing Promotions Director.
Present.
Personnel Director.
Present.
Average Director. Present. Transfer Non-Traditional Student Director.
Present.
President Pro Tempore Corey Wills.
Here.
Senator Alan Alcantara. Oh, excuse me. He is unexcused absent. Senator Casey Thielhart.
Present.
Senator Delshawn Boson will be late. Excused. Senator Dennis Jackson.
Present.
Senator Giselle Zuna is unexcused absent. Senator Joshua Lopez.
Here.
Senator Christina David, who will be unexcused absent. Senator Nick Correo is excused absent. Senator Verna Chan.
Here.
Senator Catherine Tately.
Here.
Senator Melissa Vargas.
Present.
Senator Nevin Pereira.
Present.
Senator Wenyu Chow.
Present.
Senator Aaron Sunga is unexcused absent. Senator Ryan Tormento.
Present.
And on that note, we have quorum. First count. Moving on to approval of the agenda. The agenda is presented in front of you. If there are any extra copies, will be for the members of the gallery. Are there any extra copies? Okay, never mind. Is there any objections to approving the agenda as is? There's a, yes.
I move to amend the agenda to have my officer report before, I can't see the agenda, but before the ex officios present, because I have class at 6:30.
I believe there are a couple people I'll be giving a report who have class at 6:30. Would you want me to include them as well in the?
Yeah, I think Shoffley is one, and I think it's only executive cabinet presenting
Yes,
today.
of course. So the motion on the table, if I'm correct, is to move the office report of the President and Vice President of Finance to right after the approval of the
Senate meeting minutes.
minutes. So move it to item E. Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wills, right?
Yeah.
Are there any objections to this motion? Seeing none, we'll move on to the main motion of, is there a motion to approve the perfected, yes, any other motions?
Motion to approve the
Perfected agenda?
perfected.
Perfect, thank you. Never mind. Is there a second to this motion? There's a second by Senator Catherine Taylor. Since, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? And there's one abstention. The vote is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One abstain. Yes, 10-0-1, the motion passes, the agenda is perfected. Please make the necessary changes as we just approved. Moving on to minutes.
Point of information.
Yes.
Oh, are there any presentations scheduled? I saw it was on the agenda, but.
There are 2 presentations scheduled. Yeah, there are 2 presentations scheduled in new business under appointments. One is a typo on my part, part 2. So the transfer non-judicial student director, as we already discussed, has already been appointed. You can cross that off. And the appointment of the election director as nominated by the Judicial Council. Does that answer your question fully?
Yeah.
Perfect. Moving on to approval of Senate meeting minutes number 8. The minutes are being passed around. Please sign and make sure they get back to the Senate Secretary. Actually, read them, please. Moving on to reports. So the President's report, and then we'll do the Vice President Finance report.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back from winter break. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the Our Leaders Conference. It's this Saturday. I believe you can still register for it, and I highly encourage everyone who's in the galley and on the horseshoe, if you haven't done so already, to please sign up for it, because it's going to be a really great conference with really great speakers. Second, I'd like to talk about first-year fellow updates. So in finals week last quarter, my first-year fellow Julia and I had a meeting with Chancellor Wilcox, Mr. Andy Plumley, and also Mr. Ron Coley. And we basically talked about 3 office goals that Julia and I have been working on. The first, if you remember, was when she came in here talking about the legacy path. That's a poor lighting area around AI. So we were able to talk with those 3 gentlemen about the lighting problems and also providing different forms of education for orientation leaders and people who work in housing. Because if you remember in her report, she was pointed out to that one area as a, quote, rape trail by her orientation leaders. So education, lighting, safety, those were our 3 concerns for campus lighting, specifically near AI. Also, I'm working with Nick, my historian, and Julia on a Meet the Chancellor series that will be a filmed interview of the Chancellor, where we'll go around, we'll ask students questions that they want to ask the Chancellor, and they'll pose it to the Chancellor, and he'll be able to be more present on social media. So one of the things that encouraged us to do this is the unfortunate attacks that happened in San Bernardino. A lot of students reached out to me personally because they were in fear of the safety of the campus and all that. And I think it'd be really good for the students of UCR to have a face that represents UCR, which is Chancellor Wilcox's face. And then the third was a goal for a long-term committee for increased transparency. And that project is probably the least developed right now. And so if any senators are interested in what I just said for that project, please talk to me or email me. The next thing is Senator Casey Thielhart and I and the other Council of Presidents are working currently on a petition and a survey regarding UC finals schedule. A lot of my finals took place during week 10 and the Saturday after finals week. And I think that's really ridiculous to have finals while I'm still taking classes. And the other presidents also felt the same way. So that's one of the big projects that the Council of Presidents are working on, and also I'd like to take to UCR to work on. Next, I'm working with Senator Ryan Tarento on establishing a proposal for his BCOE tool shed. And we would, Ryan will be talking more about this next week, but we are opening it up to other senators to get involved with the 2 of us. So we highly encourage you to. And I'm sure Michael will talk more about this, but citation-free parking. Michael Shafi and I worked on this with TOPS from summer till the finals week came up. And I think that it was a very successful project. And I think next quarter we'll be able to market it a lot better and have a more successful run on it. And that's very important.
Perfect, thank you. Are there any questions for the President? And yes.
Do you have any numbers on the amount of people that use the free parking?
So, can I respond?
Yes, of
So
course.
Michael Shafi and I are meeting with TAPS next Friday, and that's when we're getting all that data because they have it in their computer. So by next week, maybe we'll be able to say something about it. Or,
Any other follow-up questions for the President? Seeing none, Vice President of Finance, you have the floor.
All right. So I had a meeting with Jim Sandoval over the winter break regarding having a prayer space that some club has been asking me to log for them, like MSA and Middle Eastern Student Center. I also want to also talk to him about starting a South Asian Student Center which a lot of students do not feel they belong with the Middle Eastern Center, or they also do not feel like they're part of the APS. APSP, sorry about that. So they feel like the South Asian are kind of excluded from this Costa Hall. So I was thinking about starting a new program for them. And he told me it would be a 4-year program, and I will be reaching out to the South Asian student leaders around campus to come together to start build a program. The next thing, I had a meeting with Todd Wingate, the hub director, regarding heat. I had a meeting after our final Senate meeting, and it was a very productive meeting. He did give me the schedule for hub and bell tower, and when we could possibly have heat. Then, as you may all know, we had a board meeting last, what was it? Friday?
December 7th, I think it was.
Yeah, December 7th on a Friday. And the board decided that the best option is to reschedule heat. And I had a following meeting with Todd yesterday and saying what is the update with it. He will give me the latest update by Friday, and letting me know if we are going to have it and what is the logistics look like. As you all may know, I've also been working on the ARGIR with Corey, Wenyu, and Michael. We have sent you all an invite to the forum, so please fill that out as soon as possible. And it's on a good track. We seem to be doing good, and please just sign up, and looking forward to it. And oh yeah, one more thing. I'm motioning to make it a mandatory event for the Senate.
I moved to, that's fine.
Okay, I'm moving to.
As per our governing documents and our bylaws, we can make any event that's sponsored by ASUCR mandatory within a week in advance, which is what the Vice President of Finance is doing right now. So the motion on the table is to make the
Grand release of ARGIR on Tuesday, January 12th, a mandatory event for the Senate.
yes. Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Wait,
Point
Do
of
we get what
clarification.
times? What times they like lead time?
There's a second on the motion. The motion again is to make this event mandatory. To clarify, there's discussion and debate.
It will be from 5 to 9.
And of course, there are excusals for class. Yes.
My point of clarification would be it's not Tuesday, so it technically wouldn't be a week in advance.
At least minimum a week.
Let me check that. I don't know if it's a week in advance.
No, it's actually.
Point of clarification also though, if you look at the volunteer form, there's different times of when you all can sign up to volunteer. So all the time is posted on that form that Corey sent out.
Yeah. Any questions on the more than a week in advance.
Doesn't happen to me.
It's usually the next day.
Yes.
Even if it happens to not be a mandatory event, the symbolic gesture that we'll all be involved in helping make this a successful event, I think goes without saying. So I look forward to seeing all of you.
On that note, since it is not one month in advance, but
Highly encouraged.
it is highly encouraged. I'm expected since the ASUCR sponsored event is something. This is one of our biggest projects and our biggest, most positive.
Yeah.
Yes, Senator.
Is it okay if I make a comment?
Yes.
Well, just to say, if people have classes, if you can come after the event to help us put the boxes away, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. It took us until 3 a.m. last year, so we don't want a repeat of that. The more hands we have, the faster it will be. So if everyone can come back after their class, if you can text either Shafi, Corey, or I to see what we're doing at that point in time, to see if you all can still come, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Also help with setup, please.
It's all listed in the Vice President's Finance's very lengthy, informative email and Google form to sign up for times. I believe the fellows and the interns were also asked to help volunteer for this event, as well as our staff, as well as us, and we should lead by example. So all hands on deck. Is there anything else we should to?
No, and finance hearing will be starting next week, Tuesday, from 2 to 3.
Thank you. To reiterate, finance hearings, which I know is something a lot of the public and clubs are interested in, will be on Tuesdays, right? Vice President?
Yes, Tuesday.
From
2 to 3?
2 to 3.
Well, 2 to 3 will be next Tuesday, and the following week, starting following week, it'll be 2 to 4.
Thank you. I'm assuming that includes your report? Are there any questions for the officer?
Just real quick, what are Hub Governing Board meetings? Not directly.
Oh, it's going to be, the next hub board meeting will be
Monday.
Monday, January 11th.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 to 3.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're moving on to our,
And it is a public meeting, so you are all welcome to come.
yes. As with any public meeting, the more people show up in the gallery represents how many people are interested in what we're talking about. And I believe, as the Highlander keeps talking about it, that this is something that students do care about. So if you do show an interest besides talking to Vice President, you should show up to the meeting. Moving on to the next part of the agenda, the ex officios. Any ex officios here would like to present to this board?
Andres Medrano, ex officio for CSP. So this quarter, CSP will be continuing its committee meetings. Chicano Latino Youth Conference will meet Wednesdays from 2 to 3. Semana de la Mujer will meet Thursdays from 3 to 4. Raza Grab will meet Thursdays from 4 to 5. And all meetings will take place in the conference room in CSP. This Thursday, Raza Grab is having a fundraiser at John's Incredible Pizza from 6 to 9. And we have a lot of fun events going on this quarter, so looking forward to seeing most of you there. And Juegos Aztlán, we have a bowling tournament this quarter, Noche Cultural, and yeah, I'll keep y'all posted.
Thank you.
Leave this right.
Any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, thank you. I'm actually really bad at bowling. It's like.
Hi y'all, I'm Mafalda from USP. So a couple of things going on since the beginning of the quarter. I want to let folks know that we have clickers, calculators, so scientific calculators, and a few graphing calculators and books available for students to check out. We return them at the end of the quarter, which is pretty cool. We're also excited to announce that we finally have printing. So we have 20 pages a week for students, so if they need printing, please come by, just sign your name in and let us know how many pages you need. Couple of scholarships we have out for undocumented students tonight. Our book grant is closing at midnight, so students can apply. This will pay for your books for the quarter, and the deal is you return the books back, so you build our library. And then next week on January 17th, our Dream Scholarship will close again at midnight. That's $500 a quarter if the student receives the scholarship. So we also have a couple workshops going on. Since it is financial aid season, we have a couple of California Dream Act workshops on how to do it. These will actually be like, we give students the opportunity to be on the computer and fill it out as you go. So not just information as to what it is, but we will be filling it out as we go on the computer. The first one is on Wednesday, January 13th from 1 to 3 in Watkins 2101. The second is Tuesday, January 26th from 2 to 4 in Hub 355. Unfortunately, with this one, because it is in Hub, we do ask that students bring laptops. You can check them out in the lobby. And then Wednesday on February 17th, we also have one from 5 to 7. That one will also be in Watkins 2101, so their computers are provided. We also have a workshop tomorrow for Teach for America for DACA students. So students who have DACA are now qualified to do Teach for America. We'll have a representative from Teach for America to explain how the process works and what are the benefits and things like that, what the program will look like. This is tomorrow, January 7th from 3 to 4 in Hub 260. And then more importantly, we have a workshop in a couple of weeks called Know Your Rights. So recently, as you've heard, immigration there have been several raids and it's been continuing in the communities. So we asked folks with families who are undocumented or students who are undocumented just to be aware. We have confirmation that they are out there. And so we are having a workshop in which we help students understand what their rights are. Basically, you don't have to speak to them. You don't have to speak to them with a lawyer present, things like that. Some students don't realize that they have those rights, so we want to make sure that we get that information out there. And that will be Thursday, January 21st from 3:30 to 4:30 in Hub 379. And I have a flyer for that one.
I just passed around to the staff. I'm on my way. Thank you. Is there any questions for the presenter? Oh, can you mind writing your name as well on the?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And you said Thursday, January 21st at 3:30?
Yeah, 3:30 to 4:30 in Hub 379.
Thank you.
So we really encourage students to go to that one.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Moving on, any other ex officios who would like to address this board at this time? Seeing none. Moving on to public forum. Anyone in the public in the gallery wish to address this board at this time?
Do I write my name on here?
Yes, please. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to the Senate real quickly.
Definitely. Hi, my name is Tess. I am the CalPERG campus organizer here at UCR. I just wanted to make a quick presentation introducing myself because I haven't gotten a chance to meet some of you yet, and also just give you an update on CalPERG's new campaigns for the winter quarter. So I have been working with PERG for the past 2 years. I started as a Mass PERG campus organizer. I'm from California. I went to UC Santa Cruz, graduated in 2013. A little bit ago. And then I moved out to Massachusetts to work with college students at 3 different schools. I missed California. Our weather is much nicer, so I wanted to move back here and continue working with college students. So I've been working at UCR since August. Really excited because we are starting 3 new campaigns. The first campaign we're working on this quarter, our lead campaign, is banning plastic bags in Riverside County. So I don't think I have to tell you guys that plastic pollution is a huge problem. We know that it's affecting our wildlife and our marine wildlife and also our communities. So CalPERG is working to pass a plastic bag ban here in Riverside. We're one of the very few cities in the state of California that did not originally pass one last year. We are also working to protect bee populations. So we actually need bees to pollinate all of our food. Without bees, we don't have food, so no coffee, no chocolate. We are working to get the EPA to ban a pesticide that's causing colony collapses in bee populations. And then our third lead campaign, we're also working to combat the drought here in California by getting the Water Commission to regulate Nestle's bottling practices. They actually illegally extract water in our forests. We don't think that's right. California's in the 5th year of our drought, so we want to make sure that they're regulated. So yeah, that's all I have. Nice to meet some of you. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you. If you would wait 1 sec, please. Sorry, Jessica. Are there any questions for the presenter at this time on the campaigns CalPERG is running at this time? All right, saying none. Thank you then. Anyone else in the public wish to address the board at this time? Saying none. We move on to reports from committee chairpersons. This item is on the agenda if anyone who is a committee chair of this board, of this organization, was to speak this time.
Do I have to go to the podium?
I'll make an exception, just for your next slide.
So, our closet committee is meeting tomorrow for the first time for winter quarter at 4 p.m. No, not 4, 3 p.m. And if anyone wants to come and help fold some clothes and get the cookies together, that would be amazing. I'll be in there starting at 1 inside of the Bear's Den. And we will also be starting to plan the undie run this quarter. So if anyone wants to help out, please contact me. The more help, the better. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for the committee chair? Seeing none. Any of the committee chairs who wish to address the board this time? Again, seeing none, moving on to the next item on the agenda, officer reports. Since we already the vice president, the president and the vice president of finance, we'll do with the vice president of campus internal affairs.
Evening, everyone. Welcome back. Holidays were restful. So just a quick updates on all things internal. food pantry, I'm very happy to announce that we have arrived at having our full-time food pantry manager, Grecia Marquez. I was fortunate to be able to sit on the hiring committee, and Grecia was truly outstanding in the different aspects on a lot of different dimensions when it came to assisting students in their food security efforts, understanding all of the different variables, and was particularly appreciative of the sensitivity that composes those spaces in food insecurity. Operating hours have been drawn up. A date for full-time opening will be set for this quarter, which is great, so we don't have to do just monthly releases. It'll be open every week, multiple times. But that exact date has yet to be decided. Either way, I'm more than excited to continue the positive impact this program has had. And as Ashley had mentioned in her report, just as a kind of a free parking follow-up, we'll be having a recap meeting with TAPS next week to kind of go over the data, get the feedback on the successes and gaps in our pilot program. It was the first time that we were running it, so naturally we're trying to make every effort to hear back from students on what they liked, what they didn't like. So far, we've got a lot of preliminary positivity just looking on social media. Students who were, it makes your week when you don't have to worry about parking and you already have that free and taken care of for you. As we said in spring quarter, we promised to be able to deliver on free parking during finals week, and we're incredibly happy to be able to deliver on that promise and serve so many students. As far as bike share is concerned, we've met with several departments over winter break. I'm excited the final stages of approval will actually be happening in the upcoming weeks. Bike station locations are said to be reviewed and approved by our campus architect this weekend, and from there there'll be a task of implementing green transportation on our campus. I'll keep you all updated as progress continues when we get to the final stages. Lastly, our academic affairs director, Angelica Tan, she was unable to be here tonight, so I'm just gonna pass along a few messages that she wanted me to deliver. First, the final survival snack wagon and the snack bar were a massive success. For those of you in the horseshoe and the galley, and those who aren't present who volunteered, a huge thank you. We really appreciate it. It is one of the best ways to interact with students, and one of the most positive things that we deliver to our campus community. As a bonus, this coincided with the 24-hour library event that went on during final week of week 10. I'll be working with the library this quarter to try to update that contract, ensure it's around for a long time. We all really like the 24-hour library. Lastly, our academic affairs office has been working to provide cheaper textbooks all quarter, and we have made a lot of great strides. The UCR textbook exchange, of which there have been business cards handed throughout the office.
I'm going to extend time by
like 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay, 2 minutes.
Okay, there's a motion on the table to extend time by 2 minutes. There's a second. A second by Senator Des Jackson. Is there any objections? Seeing none.
Last the textbook exchange is sponsored free of charge by ASUCR, and it is a great way for ASUCR students anywhere. You can, for UCR students anywhere to buy, sell, trade, exchange books that are much often under the market rate because they're exchanged between and by students. It helps to effectively keep those costs down. Like I said, there have been cards and posters. You'll start seeing some media and awareness distributed to all our campus partners, although maybe not the bookstore because it might hurt their profit margin. But it's an incredibly useful exchange. Anyway, that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, move on to the next report then. Vice President of External Affairs.
Okay. Alright, I think everyone can hear me just fine. Alright, so just to do, I guess to start off the report with some follow-up from last quarter. The Black Student Leadership Task Force has been meeting with admin. I haven't been able to make the meetings as of last quarter for a number of reasons, but Ayana has assured me that the demands are being met. With follow-up from the actions that happened last quarter statewide with all Black students, we're really happy to announce that the UC announced over the break that they've divested from private prisons, so they are able to find a more sustainable, I guess, investing ground. So a lot of the actions that we did last time around, I want to give a shout out to Corey, Dalshawn, and everyone else who was part of the action and was really there in solidarity. It just goes to show student power matters, and you can find money places other than the prison industrial complex. And then just to, I guess, map out what the quarter is going to look like for external affairs. The committees are fully staffed as was announced at the last meeting, so this is really exciting because UCSA will be in here next week training each of the committees. The vote committee will have training from Julian, who's the vote director for UCSA, so he'll be teaching students how to register to vote. This training is open to the public, or the student population, and open to all of the officers here as well. Because if you all are interested in volunteering later on, the training can also be passed along by one of the officers as well. They'll give us a bunch of materials and everything, and all of the UCSA trainings will be, I guess, open to everyone because I mean there are skills that are not limited to external affairs in terms of organizing and lobbying, things like that. Patty and Sean Connolly from UCSA will also be joining us next week, training students on how to lobby, how to sit down with elected officials, what to prioritize, what to talk to them about, what not to talk to them about, because they can't fix all your problems, but they certainly can fix the ones they're in charge of. So teaching students how to identify those, and then Patty will be down here one more time with the action committee, even though she was here last quarter, doing preliminary training for organizing, but moreover going over the action and directions that we have. A lot of the goals for external affairs are set at the beginning of the quarter, which is a lot different from last quarter in terms of we're kind of going with the statewide flow, and whatever everybody was doing statewide and whatever needs came up, we'd address those. However, the quarter is planned out from like the beginning to the end in terms of, okay, so just continuing from there, for lobby corps, the session just started. That means congressmen or
Legislative session.
yeah, the legislative session, correct, for people who don't know, I guess. This means congressmen and elected officials are in session and, I guess, voting on things. So this is the most important time to lobby them. We would have liked to have lobbied them while they were back home, like Senator Roth and a couple others from Riverside, Mark Capano, and lobby them, but we'll be lobbying them
15 seconds.
as we're in session. Can I get a motion to
I
extend
move to
time?
extend
by-
time.
Preferably by 4 or 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
There's a motion on the table to extend time by 5 minutes. There's a second. Senator Giselle Ozuna. Are there objections to this motion? Seeing none, time will extend by 5 minutes.
Okay, and so just continue from there. Whew, no more resting. Okay. So we have training UCSA visits. UCSA visits will be open to everybody. The session just started, so everyone's. It's very key that we're on. So UCSA has a packet of UC-wide legislative issues that they'd like to push statewide, and we do have, we are going to be lobbying at the city level, which I don't think has been done before, because we would like to see some differences in the housing ordinances, and some people in the action committee actually have connections with Riverside and Oscar, and when you are connected to downtown Riverside and the mayor's office, so we'd like to continue working on the housing issues from the beginning of the year and not leave those behind. Action committee, there will be 4 actions this quarter. Actions are like protests or like events, I guess, the message. There's going to be a symbolic prison to start off the month, and it's going to be a jail-in at the Bell Tower. There will be a march, there will be one statewide action, and then there's one action that is to be determined by the office. In terms of which project we're working on, this most deserving of an action. So February will be a busy month for the Action Committee as it's Black History Month, and a lot of our goals and the timeliness of our projects will probably be around then. So that's what the Action Committee will be doing. Lobby Corps, we went over it, and lastly, Vote Committee. The Vote Committee, this is the interesting part. Okay, so Vote Committee last quarter around, you would think most people, you get people to register in the fall. It wasn't a primary year, so there wasn't exactly much of a push for that. But it is 2016, it is a pretty big year. Next year's vice president will have plenty of work on their hands. But in terms of getting prepared for next year, the deadline to register people to vote is in May. And so we have until May to get as many students registered to vote as possible, and the California primaries are coming in. And what we'd like to see happen is involvement at the primary level and not at the federal level, and not necessarily just getting people to pick between a Republican and a Democrat, but picking between the people in the parties and selecting the right person to even run for the position. So we'd like to see involvement from the beginning, and that's, I guess, something that we're going to be trying to push from that point. The goal to register, for students registered this quarter, is 600 students. Last year, I'm not sure, 600 was met like throughout the entire year, but the goal for this quarter is 600 with the understanding that it is a lofty goal and we're not going to simply just check in. There will be bi-weekly check-ins, checking the progress of everybody's registration, and then I'm pretty sure when you register people to vote, there's like tax deductibles and all types of other stuff we'll talk about. The exciting thing is Caitlin Shell from the Government Relations Vice Chancellor Office reached out to me at the Christmas open house last quarter, and she suggested, as she did over the summer, Bernie was not, or let me talk about her, I'm sorry. So she would like to have a presidential candidate come to our campus, and I was wondering about the feasibility of that. And once we went through, I guess, logistics and travel, and just, like the optics and financial aspect of it, she would like to have Hillary Clinton here sometime mid-February when she's passing through the Inland Empire. So we're rearing up to see what the government relations vice chancellor can do about that. And our office and Oscar and Brian will be working with those people to make sure that happens. If that event is confirmed, and it will be as of by sometime next week, it'll be either confirmed or pushed off, you all will know. But if it is confirmed, a good amount of office resources will obviously go to planning that. And I'm sure it's not going to be simply an external affairs thing. If Hillary's coming to the campus, I really extend the hand to the rest of the horseshoe and to the rest of the association to help out with something like of this magnitude. UCSA, we have a board meeting this weekend. This is our 6th board meeting. So it's our biannual. So we'll be doing biannual reviews, biannual evaluations. We just passed a pretty large, I felt like I should inform you all, we just passed a pretty large funding. We just passed a large financial transaction to hire 2 new administrative assistants, set up a retirement plan, and a 401k or something like that. So we actually spent, I think, about $250,000. And so this is the association knows that UCSA is spending this on that, and just to communicate that to everyone else. And then USSA, we also have a board meeting for USSA at the end of the month. You all will get more updates about that as we go along. So I just wanted to map out the quarter for you all. We have week 2, with training and UCSA visits. Week 4, Hack Black History Month check-in. Black History Month begins week 5, mark your calendars. Week 6, we want to be at roughly 300 people for the vote committee.
30 seconds.
And in week 8, we'd like to have the entire office shift towards preparing for Hillary, because it's going to be the end of the quarter. Cool? Thank you, everyone.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Yes.
Well, no question. Just I would say, if you're working with the city too, I don't know if you've heard about the World Logistics Center and everything that's happening with that, but I think that should definitely be another legislative priority if you're going to be dealing with the city. That was it. So I'll just say, yeah, if you wanted more stuff to take on, definitely.
So, and if I may add lastly about the Hillary Clinton visit, if students aren't necessarily going to be hyped to see Hillary Clinton, it's definitely a perfect opportunity to stage something there and have an action or something. There will definitely be plenty of media. She's a presidential candidate, and what better time to get a message out than when you're on the national spotlight?
Thank you. Your point well taken. Are there any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, Vice President, would you mind saying, or giving me access to I would love to see the UCSA ledge packet priorities?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are usually issues that are presented to students across the state and something that could take up on a local level. Is there any, does that include your report?
Sure.
Cool. Just in time. Moving on, the next report list would be me. Really quickly, just in the process of ordering polos now that we are hopefully finally filling up the rest of our board. Winter retreat, I sent this board an email. It will be January 22nd to 24th. It'll be a little different than the last couple of retreats for winter. For one, Friday will be the day where we're doing a lot of the training, collaboration, group think in this office. Saturday will be in Big Bear for Saturday night, and we'll do a lot more team building, some more collaboration there, and we'll head back Sunday morning for all of you to do your homework and be productive students. If there's any, we're still creating the agenda and the timeline for what we all want to talk about in collaboration as well as training. So if anyone wants to step up and be more involved in this process, please let me know. I sent you all an RSVP. Please respond to the RSVP email by next Wednesday. Moving on to Share Drive. My office is in the process of creating an institutionalized share drive to use for future years. This would include having officer emails as a part of the package. It's something the Highlander News actually does, so we're working closely with them to see how they do it. I'm working a little bit on the internship program, but the personnel director will probably talk more about that. As a result of the Million Student March, actually, I've been in talks with Dean Joe Verata on working together to put together some cultural competency training for not just this organization, but with organizations across the community to make a cultural shift and be more culturally aware. Lastly, I want to talk about our one-on-ones, me and all these senators. As the governing documents allow, we're supposed to have one-on-one every quarter. I'm going to try and do it every 2 weeks during our office hours, if at all possible. And these one-on-one will be mostly the same exact as last time, more up to date on where we are in progress in different projects, what we can do to help and work together with ETAB as well as each other. Are there any questions for me? Cool. Seeing none. Moving on to the directors. We start with the director of marketing.
Okay. Hello. So winter quarter is here, so please sign up for tabling. I have Christina, Nick, Des, Casey, and Verna who signed up, and then whoever signed up for today, sorry it rained, so just sign up for a different slot. If you can't make it, you can ask someone else from ASUCR or who works in ASUCR, like first year fellows or something, to fill in your spot, and then so we can have all these filled, because a lot of people have conflicting times. But it's like a really important thing, because like it's a way for us to like talk about ASUCR weekly, and like yeah. And then art year. So art year is next week, and we're gonna be marketing it more near the time, and we're gonna be doing the hashtags again like last year. So if you can also put on your social medias about art year when it comes closer to get the word out, that'd be great. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna talk to the Highlander more about our Highlander ad space. So organizations and other clubs can utilize that space more, because it is for other orgs and also for if we have any events. And oh yeah, and we do have like Corey's Hip Hop Festival and Nick's open mic night, so flyers are being made, and yeah, that concludes that part.
Cool. Any questions for the director? Yes.
Not a question. I just wanted to clarify. I don't know, for the Senate Applicant Prevention Act, it actually is 1 week. It's a minimum 1 week. So yeah, Shafi's motion or the Vice President of Finance's motion was valid. Just so everyone knows, because you brought up art gear and there was confusion about that. So yeah.
Can you clarify again? So you were saying that it was valid?
Yeah, it just has to be at least a week prior to the event.
I thought it's next Tuesday though.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, next
But
week.
the main release is Tuesday, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And his motion was, if I remember correctly,
So Wednesday.
to make the main release the mandatory event, which is Tuesday, which is
Okay.
less than a week. Yeah. But thank you for checking.
But it's highly encouraged.
Highly encouraged. Highly encouraged. Yes. Any other questions for the director? I actually have a couple, if you don't mind. Do we have a hashtag for the art here yet?
Yeah, there's gonna be several hashtags. I don't know if it's like for sure. Like, there's gonna be like 3.
Okay.
Basically,
Are you
yeah.
gonna be like last year?
Sure.
No, not completely.
So art here is I live in CR.
Look, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Secret
similar
hashtags.
to that. So then, like, it just helps people to like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure. Cool. And again, to reiterate the director's point, reaching out to students, going to students through little things like tabling is a huge effort, and it's worth it. We can't serve the public without their trust. It just doesn't work that way. And that takes putting yourself out there. So if we have conflicting schedules, then I want to reiterate that we should find other members of this office who can step up. Next, are you done with your report?
Mm-hmm.
Our director, your report?
Oh, so I took, Happy New Year's everyone. So I took Shafi Krim's advice, and I planned 2 outreach sharing days instead of 1. Usually every quarter they do 1 outreach sharing days, but I'm giving other people a chance, other organizations a chance. have two options. So if they miss one, they can always go to the other one. The outreach hearing dates are planned for, which was all sent out through the email today, Wednesday, January 20th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Friday, January 22nd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The applications will be due on Tuesday, January 19th at 5 p.m., which is the latest, at the ASUCR front desk in the office. So I was planning my outreach hearing dates with Alex Reeves from undergraduate admissions, but he never got back to me, so I planned without him. And I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for him to respond on me on the workshop for those new outreach for those new outreach directors who does not yet know how to plan an outreach event. We host one every quarter, and this one I plan to be. I want to have it on second week of school, hopefully on Thursday the 14th, or third week of school on the 18th on Monday, but that's a holiday. So most likely second week of school, but he hasn't gone back to me yet, so that will be updated later on. Visit UCR Day is also on the 13th, February 13th, and I will be meeting with Alex to see what ASUCR can offer, and that will complete my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the director? Yes, Vice President.
Wait, so how long has Alex Reed not gone back to me?
It's been since spring.
Since spring?
Yeah, but he said that he wouldn't be getting back to me until Monday, but he still hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Alright, we'll talk.
Actually, we have another couple of questions. For the outreach applicants, it's for funds, right?
Yes.
Would you clarify for the purpose of the galley, since it's start the quarter, what are they and who's eligible for them and how much, real quickly?
Okay, so the max amount that you can receive for the outreach grant is $5,000. We are given this grant money from the state, so it's not, ASUCR is not providing, we're just going through the application process. It's for any orgs or clubs or organization that wants to host an outreach event to pursue higher education for younger generation. You could aim for middle school students, high school students, and transfer students as well. We hold one every quarter. We held one last year fall. We're holding two this quarter, and then probably two more next quarter as well. I believe that concludes the outreach grant.
Yeah, perfect, thank you. If there are any questions from members of the gallery, feel free to stop by our office and talk to the director or one of us during office hours. Moving on to Personnel Director.
Hello, Happy New Year's, everyone. So the first thing I'll be talking about is the ASUCR Senate Mentorship Program. As you all know, we have 16 interns and 4 mentors. Our mentors are Senator Allen, Senator Giselle, Senator Christina, and Senator Wenyu. The interns will be reporting to me bi-weekly. Every Tuesday at 11 a.m. they will also be having a mock Senate meeting with the first year fellows, I believe. Tomorrow we will be holding a senator, mentor, and intern mixer where the senator mentors will be making presentations on themselves and what projects they're working on for the quarter and for the remainder of the year. And then from there we'll match which interns will be matched with which mentors. The second thing I want to talk about is emailing the committee chairs. So I'll be emailing them by the end of this week for last quarter's minutes, meeting times this quarter, and how the committee members are performing, so that way we can evaluate them and see how they can improve if there's improvement needed. And lastly, this quarter I will be focusing on the organization of the position, as well as creating or reactivating some committees that we have on campus, such as mental health committee or the mixed race committee. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the director? Yes, Senator.
What day did you say that the mock trials with the interns are?
I believe they are Tuesdays at 11 a.m.
Thank you.
There's also going to be a second day time, I guess, for other interns that can't make that day. Have that interview, and we're still.
We're still saying that.
Yeah, we're still saying that.
The parliamentarian here is coordinating the mock meetings as a trial, like teaching and learning tool for the programs. And they will be acting eventually as like pretty much practice meetings up to this level. But on that note, we do need chairs for that meeting. So if anyone is interested in doing some chairing and some chair training and bestowing some wisdom on the next generation, talk to one of us and we'll more than happy to make it work. Any other questions for the director? Seeing none. Moving on to the non-traditional and transfer student director.
Was I supposed to have a report?
Day one.
Just to give an idea of this office to the municipality, since it's a new one, as well as this Senate, anything on what you plan to do, some structure, and maybe ways to collaborate, and you have 3 minutes, but no pressure.
So for those of you who don't know what this position does, basically I represent and I'm going to advocate for transfer students and non-traditional students. And some ideas that I have are I want to hold events that transfer students and non-traditional students can get together and build a sense of community with each other, offer resources with them, and I also want to collaborate with Transfer Outreach Program, Transfer Student Association, Tau Sigma, and Student Vets. I still need to get my committee together, but I have a lot of ideas that I want to work on.
This committee is an internal ASUCR committee, and as a lot of the other committees in this group, there are 2 spots on the committee reserved just for senators, if anyone's interested in helping out non-traditional students. Is there anything else? That includes your report. Any other questions for the director? Saying none. Moving on to presentations. No presentations this time. We want a new business appointment. The Senate will discuss and possibly take action on nominations for the position of elections director. Yes.
I have a quick question for Emily.
Yes.
So are there starting to be rules like for the internship program now? So like, do we have like new hours or anything? Is that in the process right now?
So the mentorship or the ASUCR mentorship program, it's still the pilot program. If this goes well this quarter, we'll work on the spring quarter, but as of right now, we're not working on them just yet, just to see whether or not it will be a good program or this program will just kind of follow the class. So just kind of trial.
I believe there's some draft language already, but we're still tweaking it depending on how the program goes. Moving on to new business appointments, again to election director. Judicial Council has gotten back to us, and their nomination, I believe, is Melina Reyes. We'll allow her 3 minutes, okay? 3 minutes to present and just introduce yourself.
Sure, I was under the impression it was going to be more Q&A, but certainly.
We'll do it the same way we do everything. We'll have you present for 3 minutes as any report, and then we'll open up to discussion and questions from the board, and we'll move to a vote from there.
Alrighty, well, hello everyone. My name is Melina Reyes. I have already spent 2 years serving ASUCR, and I really treasured that time. I feel like it is very important to be able to give back to the school, and I'm more than happy to do it in almost any capacity. But there are very few positions, I think, that give me that kind of breadth. An elections director, I feel, is one of the best ones, and fortunately, I can't even communicate how thankful I am to receive this nomination, just first and foremost. As an elections director, I want to emphasize some of the key words that I've pointed to before: accountability, transparency, and integrity, and making sure that the next round of student representatives are holding themselves to very high standards and serving the students to the best of their capability. Through that, I would say, first off, I would be decentralizing a lot of power as far as that office goes, making sure that the committee itself is participating as fully as possible. And I have, let's say, I'm going to be doing a lot of surveys during my time, and however, by whatever methods possible. There's a lot of different practices that I've noticed in my last couple of years on Judicial Council adjudicating on violations. There's definitely key points that I know need to be changed. One of those being really just the whole violations reports in general.
It tends to bring out a lot of nastiness in people, and that's something that needs to be cut down because it's making the student views on elections and UCR itself very negative, and that is completely unnecessary. One of the other ones that I would say I would like to focus on is making sure that independent students actually have a chance to make it onto the horseshoe. That's something that over the last couple of years, no one has even made it onto the radar. And I think that's something that's really impeding our democratic process. And so that's one of my other targets that I would really like to focus on. But there's several other things I want to change. You know, I do hope that you can there's time to discuss those.
30 seconds.
But I think that I've proven myself over my service that in whatever capacity, I have the ability to recognize when I have conflicts of interest and remove myself from those situations. I have recused myself in a case previously when it has dealt with very close friendships. And even in times where there has been friendships involved in those certain processes, I have made sure that I have done my job, and I have lost friendships for it. And so I just want to emphasize that I am very dedicated to ASUCR, to the process.
Thank you. We'll open up this to questions for the nominee. Is there anyone who wishes to be put on the queue? We'll start with Senator David. Anyone else in the Senate? Senator Nampura? Any other senators? Then Vice President of External Affairs, then Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs. Am I missing anybody? Seeing none, I will close the queue on that mark. Yes, Senator.
Hi, Melina. I was just wondering what's your take on the party system and what you might want to do, since you do want to do surveys and kind of change it up. What are some of your ideas?
As far as the party system goes, I do see that it has some relevancy, absolutely. It can get students organized together, it can get groups around like-minded issues. So it definitely has its place, and I don't want to say that I want to eliminate it. But as previously stated, the party system as is almost entirely precludes independent students from running and having really a decent chance at getting onto the horseshoe. And so, like I said, there's going to be there will be some informal surveys and whatever, hopefully some formal surveys, whatever tools I can use to kind of gauge whether the student population feels that the party system is effective. And other groups that I can reach out to and get their thoughts, and I want it to be a collaborative process. But my personal thoughts on it, I do see benefits, but I see a lot of detractions that I think really need to be addressed. Did I satisfy? Okay, cool.
Next in queue, Senator Pereira.
Thank you. My system is actually very similar to Senator Davis, kind of on the other end of the spectrum. So how would you make it fair for independents to get on the radar to help their situation out?
Now that's one of those things that as far as definitive steps I can say, there's not much I can really say at this point because like I said, it's going to be a very collaborative process. Winter quarter is going to be essentially dedicated to not only getting the committee together itself, but mobilizing the committee to really see what steps can be taken to get independents more involved. One thing I could definitely say is making sure that events such as debates can be staged to make sure that they're getting equal time to be able to voice their positions and what steps that they would take as representatives. And so that's one thing I can definitely say, but beyond that, I would have to get back to you. Did I satisfy your question?
Thank you. Vice President of External Affairs.
Yeah, I guess Christina kind of asked. But I guess what I was also going to add was, again, when we're asking these questions, it's important to keep in mind that we're not asking to see like if we agree with whether or not, like with what she says, we're asking to see if she's qualified and if she has a vision or plan with what to do with the position.
Thank you. So is there any extra question for the nominee or?
I was going to ask you,
you don't have to.
Purely out of curiosity, how did you feel about the length of last year's elections?
That's one of those changes that I want to make, actually. Again, this wouldn't be a unilateral change. This would be something that would be up for debate and kind of testing the waters. I actually looked at the dates as far as when spring quarter starts, which would be March 28th. Elections have to be concluded at minimum 6 weeks before the end of the quarter, which is, it was June 10th. Anyway, I looked at the date. It would have to be finished by April 29th. I do not want from March 28th to April 29th to be elections. I actually want that date to be finished April 15th. So there would be and that's just my idea. There would be 2 weeks prior to elections that would be season, and then the election week itself, and we would be concluded before the beginning of week 4, which is a big thing that I noticed, that a lot of students were completely postponing any study time, and it was impacting their grades. And that's something it needs to be changed.
Students first, always.
Alright, and then just to follow up, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I guess what role do you see elections committee and like the team that you're about to put together, what role do you see yourselves having in the elections, I guess beyond like putting on events and encouraging student turnout in relation to the candidates, I guess what role do you see yourselves having?
Educating, facilitating, and I would say to an extent, I'm trying to find the way to phrase it. We're not police officers, obviously. We're not going to be enforcing the rules. But I want us to be constant reminders of, again, that accountability, transparency, and integrity. If you're following those steps, none of those rules should be violated. And so I want us to emphasize those traits, to encourage adherence to those qualities. And that's really where I would see my committee playing the most of its role.
Thank you.
Vice President of External Affairs.
Yeah, I had a kind of a two-part question. First was kind of a reaction to something that, a decision that was made by last year's Senate in all their endless wisdom to end electronic voting and only have ballot voting where you had to go to the table at like the bell tower balloting stations. Would you be in favor of reintroducing electronic voting?
My personal stance on it is absolutely. I think that change actually really inhibits a lot of students getting to voting. I wouldn't be surprised if our voting rates, if that were continued to drop drastically, and so I'm personally not in favor of it.
Excellent. And then the second one was, you served 2 years as a justice and even as Chief Justice for our third branch, and you've been on the other side when it came to elections processes, and now with that, what role do you see judicial branch playing with elections?
Judicial branch plays an integral role no matter how you want to look at it. It's completely unavoidable, and me having that experience, I really hope that I can, plant the seeds for making a very cohesive relationship between the Judicial Council and the Elections Director in the future. Both of the years that I was serving, we were undermined in one form or another by the Elections Director. And that's something that I'm very mindful of and want to actively work against that. But Judicial Council, no matter how you want to look at it or your feelings on it, it's central to the process, being the third party that's not involved. They don't have an interest in this, and I think it's only fair that they're the ones, that they have an important voice in the process.
Thank you.
Quickly, please, Director Catching.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So I believe you do have some relations with people in the office. My question was, how would you work with people without a biased judgment?
As my previous work is a testament, I am able to remove myself. I can very, very easily pass the reins to someone else, that if I'm involved in a situation and it's emotionally charged, or I feel that I have a bias, the next person that I'm able to put in that position to handle that for me, I will absolutely take that.
One thing I also want to emphasize within the committee is that while everyone is expected to recognize their own biases, I think that there's definitely ways that we can not necessarily call each other out, because I don't want it to have a negative kind of implication, but I think there's ways to discuss with each other when there might be biases and to, really call each other in to take responsibility for that. And I would certainly not be an exception to that if someone within my committee were to say, Melina, I think that you may be a little bit too invested in this. I will absolutely, take that to heart and make a decision reflecting that.
Thank you. Seeing no more questions, the queue is closed. We will move this to the floor. While passing around ballots, the vote is simple: whether or not to approve the nominee, no to not.
Point of parliamentary procedure, do we need an actual formal motion?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's get one.
Okay. I move to confirm Melina Reyes as the election director.
Thank you. The motion on the table is to confirm Melina Reyes as election director. Is there a second? Seeing a second, thank you, Devin. We will pass on the ballots now. No, since to quickly clarify, unlike previous times when judicial sent us 3 nominees, there has only been 1 nominee. So if we vote and not a majority to not confirm the election director, we simply go back to judicial for another nominee. And parliamentarian, would you confirm for me? So just a supermajority?
2/3.
It's a 2/3 vote. Yeah. Supermajority. Pretty sure it's supermajority. That's just 2/3. Which makes it supermajority. Check. We should double check. I'm pretty sure it's 2/3. I could have. Please keep it yes or no.
The application is
Alright, Zach. They're voting where?
I don't like it.
What's your dollar to majority?
She said on an email, so many people.
Yeah, well, not right now.
Wait, do you want to meet tomorrow?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, well,
It doesn't matter?
kinda,
Okay.
yeah. I'm in our closet.
For the purpose of the motion to confirm the nominee, Melina Reyes for election director, the vote is 11-1. On that note, Melina Reyes, congratulations. You're welcome to this board. Have seen at the ex officio tables, we figure out seating arrangements. Let's see the house. I'll move quickly through committee reports. There are no finance. There are no finance reports at this time. Is there any? There's no LRC reports.
That's all I can say. There's no report. I just want to do a quick.
Yes.
Okay. So LRC meetings will be Mondays at 10. Strictly according to the Constitution, they're not open. But if you have any ledge, just please send it to me, and we'll definitely work through it. We can work together. And just to sort of piggyback on what Mo said, we actually had a resolution tabled for prison divestment, but we were divested from prison. So yeah, power to the people.
Clarify for finance real quick. What are the finance committee meetings again? Or finance-
Tuesday, 3 p.m. or
It's at Tuesday from 2 to 3 for next week, and every week afterwards it's 2 to 4.
Perfect, thank you. Yes.
Question for Corey. When are the LRCA?
Monday at 10.
Moving on to public comment. Any members of the public wish to address this board at this time for anything that happened on this agenda today? Yes.
Hi. Jim Sandoval, Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs. Actually, I missed public forum, so just wanted to go back to that and just wish everybody a Happy New Year. Hope that everybody had a wonderful break and is all rested and relaxed and that your quarter is off to a great start. We have a very busy quarter ahead of us. I know that just listening to a number of your items that we're engaged with you on many different fronts. So we look forward out of Student Affairs and the administration to continue to work with you on many initiatives. So I just want to say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Any other members of public comment at this time? Seeing none, we'll move forward to roundtable announcements. Which section are we on? Senator Passon, you have the floor.
Pass.
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 Pass. Pass. Pass. Pass.
Pass.
Happy New Year's. Pass.
Happy New Year's. I forgot to say that earlier. Happy New Year's, everybody. It's nice to see you all.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Pass.
Pass. Your members of volunteer bar here.
Tabling.
Tabling.
Wait, Joshua, you want to say anything about our leaders?
I mean, if I wanted to, I would have, but the conference is this Saturday. I'm not really in charge of our leaders.
That was me.
I should say something about our leaders, actually. Diversity Council is hosting a workshop for our leaders conference. It will be held during session 3, just to discuss some of our initiatives for the year and to promote the council to the greater student body. So if you will be attending, I encourage you all to participate during the workshop. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Dawson.
All right. Hear a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
There we go.
I second.
The senator moves to adjourn. There's a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. This meeting is adjourned. We are going to have a closed session. We'll re-adjourn in 8 minutes exactly at 7:25. And we'll move into closed session. And I will ask that the galley be gone by